Okay. So today is 28th of October. I think it's a Wednesday. I'm watching a vlog on YouTube. I think the name of the person doing the vlog is Olivia or something. And then towards the end of the vlog, right? Holy Spirit help me. Towards the end of the vlog, she brings out this mirror. It's a mirror. But the mirror looks like an iPad mini 7, like the new iPad mini that was just dropped, right? Hey, it's almost the same size, almost the same everything, right? It looks exactly like the iPad. And then she's holding it to her face with one hand. She's holding the mirror with one hand, and then she's applying the makeup. She has a brush on the other hand. She's applying the makeup with the other hand, right? So I'm pretty sure now that God wanted me to see it. Yeah, it was divinely orchestrated. So now that I see it here, what comes to my mind is, why on God's green earth are we not like in 2024, right? Why is a mirror still the default tool for makeup? Why are women still using mirrors for makeup, right? Why do they still have all these like hand mirrors that they hold for makeup? Why can't their phones do that for them, right? Because literally everybody has a phone now. Or why can't an iPad, for instance, maybe not the iPad 11 inch or the 13 inch, no, the iPad mini, right? Why can't it be the replacement for like for mirrors, essentially? Why can't like every like woman have like a device like that, right? What is the missing link? So what I'm going to attempt to do now, with the help of God, is to try to create an app, right? We're going to try to walk ourselves through an app that has all the basic functions of a normal mirror, right? And more, right? So that like an average woman, right? If you give her that app with an iPad mini 7, for instance, and a traditional $10 mirror, for instance, she would pick the app over the mirror. Right. Okay, cool. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to create an app. We're trying to create a super mirror, essentially. Think of it as a super mirror, a pro mirror, if we're using Apple's English. Like, so there's normal mirror, and then this was now mirror pro, like proper mirror, like a pro mirror, right? Okay, cool. So the question is, so for us to be able to create a pro mirror, right, we have to understand why, the standard women are not using mirrors for makeup by default. That women are using their phones as their mirrors for their makeup by default, right? Why do they still have all this? They have their phone in their bag. Sometimes they have their tablets inside their bag, but they still carry these mirrors inside their bag, right? So why? So I'll say the number one issue with that would be quality, right? The quality that comes from the mirror, the traditional mirror, is just a lot by default. It's just a lot better than the quality that is coming from the viewfinder on their phone, right? Because the viewfinder is optimized for taking a photo, finish, right? Right. Okay, cool. So the first problem is a quality issue. The mirror has a superior quality by default, right? Okay, cool. So that's the first problem. And the other problem would be, I'll say, tradition, right? Traditionally, women have always done their makeup with mirrors. In fact, there's a whole culture around mirrors. There's the vanity mirrors, which dates back to people like Marilyn Monroe. You see how it like a vanity mirror and all these things, and like, so there's a whole like, mirrors have their own like they have their own arch. If you want to go with that analogy, they go way back, right? They go way back. If you want to go even further than that, even before Marilyn Monroe set foot on this planet, you can even go back to things like Greek mythology and this Greek god, now this narcissistic Greek god that was like stirring himself in the water, right? So that one self day. Bible also making references to the mirror that a human being that reads the word of God and does not do it is like somebody that beholds his face in the mirror and walks away and, does not remember and immediately forgets what he looks like, right? So there's a lot of references to, which is very scientific, by the way. But there's a lot of references to mirrors, right? Mirrors are like there's a philosophical side to mirrors, right? Mirrors are like this, like, there's even like sayings like the man in the mirror. Do you understand? So mirrors are this like, there are, popular quotes like mirror, mirror on the wall, all these like really cool stuff, right? So mirrors are like a part of like human life. They're entrenched in human culture, in society essentially, right? So they are almost instinctive. That's what I'm trying to get at now, right? So one strong reason why mirrors are that a woman would want to apply makeup and she'll pick up a traditional mirror instinctively instead of reaching for a phone or a tablet or iPad, for instance, or whatever tablet she's using, right? Is number one, I would say instinct, because mirrors are embedded in our instinct as human beings, right? One, right, Jesus? Yeah. Okay, cool. So that's one. Then another reason would be, again, like I alluded to, be quality. The quality on the mirror is just, I'll say better-ish. Yes? Okay, cool. And then number three is that the phone is not offering her any incentive, any extra incentive. There's no extra incentive for her to use her phone as a mirror or her iPad as a mirror versus using the traditional mirror. Do you understand? There's no incentive to it. Right, cool. So those are like the three reasons. Those are like the three solid reasons why why women are still using their phones. They're still using their mirrors over their phones. Help me, Jesus. Right? Okay. So how do we solve for that? Now, if we can solve these three things, right? If we can create a Mirror Pro, right? Which is an app that solves these three problems, which is the instinctive problem, the quality problem, and the incentive problem. If we can solve all these three problems, right, we can create a Mirror Pro or a Mirror Pro Max if you want, right? And this can actually help. This can change the way women apply makeup, actually. Right? It can change how women apply makeup. And it can it can change, it can even it can change the way women apply makeup. Let's start with that, right? Do you know how Amazon's Kindle changed the way people read books, right? Before Kindle, people were reading books, but it wasn't just like it wasn't sexy to read books, right? Before the Amazon Kindle. It was Amazon that came with the Kindle and then they made it popular. They made it so popular that even me that I did not like reading, I bought one. And I read a full book on it, right? Children of Blood and Bone. I read a full book on it, right? Because they just made this device that was dedicated they made reading cool with that device. They made this device that was optimized for reading, essentially, right? Now, in my opinion, right, the iPad Mini 7, right, can be optimized for makeup. It's the perfect size. It's the perfect everything, right? It should be, if a girl wants to apply makeup, right, that should be what it's small enough to fit in their bags, right? It's just the perfect device. Do you understand? It's not too big, it's not too small. It's just what you can put in your bag, right? So instead of a girl pulling out her mirror, it can be, okay, let me just put it like this. The iPad Mini 7 can be like the Kindle of makeup. Right, okay, cool. So how can we get it? So I'm using iPad Mini 7 as an example now because most likely that's the iPad I'm going to buy. And then because of the size and form factor and all those things, right? Okay, cool. So how can we solve for these three problems these three advantages that mirror has, that a traditional mirror has, right? Number one advantage, again, like I said, is culturally instinctive, right? Number two advantage is quality issues. And then number three advantage is lack of incentives. Okay, so let's trace this one by one. The first one, the cultural one. I think the cultural one I think the cultural one is I don't think it's something that, any AI or anything can solve immediately. It's something that would change. If you make I think the cultural one is a problem that would eventually get eroded over time if the other two problems, which is quality issues and incentive issues, if they are solved, right, then in the next 4 or 5 years, right, it might become culturally normal for a woman to pull out an iPad when she wants to do her makeup over like pulling out like a mirror, right? So the cultural thing is a time play. It's dependent on two things, dependent on two factors. Number one, creating a super mirror, like a Mirror Pro Max app. And then number two, time, right? So if you have like a Mirror Pro Max app and let's say I get it right, yeah? And other developers like pick up on it and get it right? Over the next 5 years, right? Maybe by the time we are like achieving AGI, yeah, we'll also be in this state where women are wearing makeup. They are using their devices their iPad mini, let's not say devices, because it's the perfect size, to apply makeup. Okay, cool. So we've moved out. So one is like half checked, right? It's dependent on, like I said, it's dependent on solving the two other problems. Okay, cool. So quality issues. Let's do quality. Okay, so why does a $10 mirror look better than a expensive device? Right? So I remember when I was like a lot younger. I think it was 2016, 2015, right? There are a lot of mirror apps floating around that time. This was when the app stores were just exiting this era of like, this was like the app stores were just like recovering from like the Flappy Bird like craze. I remember very properly, and apps were slightly moving away from touchlights. This influx, they are slightly moving away from like touchlight apps essentially. Touchlight, like basic utility apps like touchlight apps, right? In that category of like basic utility apps, mirror apps were also very present at that time. They were very, very popular also at that time, right? There were a lot of mirror apps and touchlight apps and calculator apps and essentially very basic apps, right? Okay, cool. But the reason why, on the phone you still have like your calculator app, it survived that era. You still have your flashlights, it survived that era. You still have your currency converters. You still have all these basic utility apps. But for some weird reason, from that category, the mirror app is missing. It's because, again, quality issues. It's because the quality of the cameras on phones have gotten better, right? Exponentially better, actually. But the front-facing camera has not really gotten that much love, right? It hasn't really changed that. It hasn't evolved that much. So you see phones having like a lot of multiple sensors, but those sensors are usually at the back of the phone, right? And then front-facing camera doesn't get that much love, right? Okay, cool. So when an average person picks up their phone and opens their viewfinder, help me Jesus, help me Holy Spirit, and they look at the viewfinder, right? By default, and then they pick up their mirror and they look at the mirror. They'll be, like an average girl will just be like, let me just pick the mirror, right? So she drops her phone and she picks up a mirror. So how do we equalize that? Surprise, 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 surprise. AI, right? So that quality issue now we can fix it. I think we can fix it. Now, it would be very unfair to like allocate all the I don't want to use the word glory here, but it would be very unfair to ascribe all the praise, that's the English word, to AI here, because I think a lot of things have been happening in the background that can finally solve the quality issue. The first thing is front-facing cameras have gotten slightly better, right? Number two, phones like the iPhone have actually, unlike other phones, right? I think Android slacked a bit in this regard, but the iPhone actually, they picked up, instead of slacking, they actually picked up their game, because the iPhone has something now called the dynamic island. Now, inside that dynamic island, there's an array of sensors. There's the dot matrix sensor. There is really, really good sensors right now in front of that is good sensors essentially, right? That can in front of your camera now, in front of your screen, right? So let's just summarize everything into the front-facing cameras have increased better, right? So around 2016 have improved essentially. So around 2016, right, the cameras that were at the back of the phone, there were all these 8 megapixel cameras, 12 megapixel cameras, right? Now in today's world, those were like the flagship phones. Those are what was at the back of the camera, at the back of the phone, right? 12 megapixel, 8 megapixel. In today's world, most smartphones now on the front-facing camera has something like an 8 megapixel camera there by standard. So what was at the back of your phone in 2016 is now what is in front of your phone. Right. Okay, cool. Right? Okay, cool. So the first good thing that has happened is, again, cameras have gotten better. Now, the second good thing that has also gotten better is screens, right? So back in 2016, right, a lot of phones were still battling with high def, just like getting basic HD, right? And everybody was still on 60 FPS. Even the most flagship phones in that era they were all still on 60 FPS, 60 frames per second, right? And then, there were some phones that were like, OLED was like this thing on the horizon. Everybody was talking about organic light emitting diodes and all this, like, how OLED was going to change the game, right? But it wasn't like everybody in the world had like an OLED phone, right? Enter 2024, OLED is kind of standard across the board now. Yeah? Yes, there are still some LCD screens, but like most, again, okay, instead of narrating all these things, right? What I'm saying is that the displays have gotten better too, significantly better than 2016. So two things are now working in favor of the front-facing camera now. Number one, the displays have gotten significantly better. The cameras have gotten significantly better, and third but not, refresh rates have gotten better, which is a sub argument on that displays have gotten better. Refresh rates are a lot higher now, right? And then number three, I'll say the number three thing would be our brother in the Lord, artificial intelligence. So now we now have AI. AI is now on the ballot, if you will. Right. So how can we use AI to take advantage of better screens and a better camera sensor to build a better mirror, a Mirror Pro Max, right? Right? Okay. So the number one problem, like I said, is the quality issue, right? So traditionally with AI, one of the most popular AI there's this thing called upscaling, right? Upscaling is the art of taking an image that has a poor image quality, and then using AI to recreate that image, right? And then creating a higher quality version of that image, just like the name sounds. It's upscaling it, right? It takes this very blurry image and then it uses AI to enhance the image. So, for instance, on the App Store, there are a lot of apps that do that, right? They are called Photo Enhancer, Image Upscaler. They have different names, but essentially the gist is you give it a photo that looks terrible, or maybe you snap like an old photo on your phone. Or maybe you see like maybe you see like an album that has like maybe an album from like 1990, 1994, 95, 2001, 2002, an old photo, and then you take a photograph with your phone of that photograph, that Polaroid, for instance, and then you feed it to this AI, and then they will take that photo, and then they will make it, they upscale it for you. The AI will make it look modern, to make it look sharp, right? The magic behind that is upscaling, right? Now, another thing that smartphones have gotten going for them, right, is the processors, right? Now, this comes after the AI. So there are 4 things now that will make this Mirror Pro app like very, very, that might make this app a big success. Again, for the nth time, the first one is better camera sensor. The second one is better screens, higher refresh rates. The third one is AI, and then the fourth one now, especially with Apple's new push for Apple Intelligence, is AI, right? Now the upscaling thing uses this model. There's a popular upscaling model called ESR GAN, right? It's GAN. It uses ESR GAN. I don't want to get too technical on this thing, right? So there's upscaling essentially. So what we can do is the good news here is that no matter how poor your front-facing camera is, right, we can upscale the image in real time now, to be as good as or even better than the mirror that you're holding, right? It can be better than it. It can be like Hollywood quality, essentially. Like you're watching like cinema, correct? Cinema doing that kind of thing. And the quality will be, it will be almost superior to it. I have to try these things. My code. Luckily, I'm going to get my M4 again. The laptop is dropping today. They dropped the Mac Mini yesterday. I was tempted to buy it, but I'm just going to buy M4. I'm just going to buy a MacBook Pro. So obviously, I'm getting back to work. So I might have to test this part out. But I'm pretty confident that, from a theoretical standpoint here, I'm very confident that the processors now, especially on devices like the iPhone 16 and this new iPad Pro, this new iPad Mini, right? I'm very confident that, number one, the upscaling can be done on the fly, right? Because ESR GAN is notoriously fast, right? By itself is notoriously fast, right? So I'm very confident that the upscaling can be done on the fly. That's the first thing. So we can train like a local model that just does upscaling, finish. So in that Mirror Pro app, even without any other thing, if you turn on the Mirror Pro app, right, and you hold your mirror, you hold like a traditional mirror to it, the quality should be the same or even better. Your phone, the iPad Mini 7 should have like a better quality, a superior quality to what is on your phone, thanks to upscaling. Okay, cool. So, and that is how we have solved the second problem, which is the quality issue. Now there's a third problem. 23 minutes. Now there's a third problem that I identified, which is the incentive problem, right? So how do we solve the incentive issue, right? What other incentives can we add? Or peradventure, we are not even able to get the quality to be on par with a traditional mirror, right? Which other incentives can we give the Mirror Pro Max app so that even if the quality is not on par with it, you be like, okay, that's like a small trade-off, like it's a small price to pay for salvation, and then you still use like the Mirror Pro Max over, like the average girl will still take the Mirror Pro Max app over like a traditional mirror, right? Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So again, enter AI. Now this is like a little bit of a tough nut to crack, right? Because if you think about the ergonomics of like women applying makeup, right, is a very hands-on task, right, if you will. And when I say hands-on, I mean literally, because usually they are holding the phone with one hand, they are holding the mirror with one hand, and then they are applying the makeup with, they're usually holding like maybe like a lip liner, a lipstick with the other hand, right? So both hands are occupied, right? So even if you made an app, so and that's another reason why these mirror apps didn't take off, right? Because even if you made an app, right, you need the app to be, so for you to make a successful Mirror Pro Max app, right, you need the AI to be able to you need a way to control the app, essentially. So okay, sorry, let me take it one by one. I'm jumping the gun, right? So like I said, the problem with makeup is women applying makeup is that it's a very hands-on activity. Both hands are literally occupied. One hand she's holding the mirror, with another hand she's holding she's like both hands are hold like a lip liner or a lip gloss or an eye pencil or what have you, right? So both hands are occupied, right? If both hands are occupied, it means there's really no hands to be using to interact with the phone, right? So how do you interact with the phone? Now, traditionally, the way you interact with the phone is with touch, right? You touch the phone. You say, okay, you put a button there on the screen and say, okay, if you want to do X, press this button. If you want to do Y, press this button, right? And you have put all these like buttons on inside the app, and then the person doing the makeup can interact with traditionally with touch. But now, since both hands are going to be occupied, we have to find another way to control the phone, right? To control the Mirror Pro Max app, right? Now, the other traditional way of doing this is something called gestures, right? So we can introduce something. Now, phones have these things called like a accelerometer or a gyroscope, right? So you can introduce gestures and say, if I flick my phone twice, then I want you to increase the brightness of the phone, for instance, so that I can see the makeup clearly, right? Or if I flick my phone down, then I want you to highlight my lips or change the color of my lips in real time, right? Right? Yeah? So we could do that. We could just keep it just gesture based, right? But again, like I said, and that would work-ish, right? But like I said, this is like this is the year of our Lord, Jesus Christ, 2024, right? So we don't do that now, right? I think there's this song by, I think it was Bone Thugs and Harmony. We don't rap no more, although we'll sing, although we don't rap no more. Okay, cool. We don't do gestures no more right now, right? Right now we're doing AI, right? So enter AI. No gestures, no touch. We're just going straight for AI, right? So the AI, so the way the AI is going to work is, so if you're not using gestures, we're not using touch, right? Because both hands are occupied. We're not using gestures because, again, gestures involve that your money. We're not using gestures because it's not the most comfortable. It's not the most comfortable approach, because we're putting into consideration, into cognizance, the comfort of the person applying the makeup, right? So if we're not doing that, then the only other option we have now is context, right? So we need an app that can understand the context of what you are doing or what you're about to do in real time. It's looking at you in real time. And you're holding the app, you're holding your iPad mini with one hand, you're applying the makeup with another hand, and the app can understand every single activity that you're doing, right? So if the app sees so I'll give a classic example of context, right? So one of the foundational, pun intended, activities that women do when they apply makeup is they add foundation, right? They have like all these primers, all these things. They add foundation on their face, right? Now, one thing I've noticed by consuming a lot of vlogs is that when they apply that foundation on their face, right, a lot of the times the application is not even, right? It's not like 100%, right? And they also know that too, right? So I've seen it, especially with all this like get ready, not like standard get ready with me, but like all these like red carpets get ready with me, like videos, right? Let's say maybe there's like the Met Gala, and then they do like get ready with, insert the name of your favorite celebrity for the Met Gala. Like when you watch those videos, you notice that the way the professional makeup artists, the way they apply the makeup is they apply the foundation or whatever the products the base products that they apply to the face, right? The way they do it is that they usually start with dots. They put all these dots, like, so maybe they'll apply, like, they take the product and maybe put like 3 dots on the forehead, 2 on the cheeks, on both cheeks, put like another 2 or 3 dots on the chin, and then after they evenly divided the face into like these 4 segments, or as the case might be, then they go ahead and then they rub the product into the skin, and then they try their best, right? They try their best to like create an even spread, right? But there's no way for them to know that the spread is actually even, right? Now, so one of the things that AI can step in and help with in now is to number one, detect when you're rubbing in applying product on your face, and then number 2, tell you after you are done applying the product, it will now tell you the amount of coverage you are able to achieve, right? So let's say you applied, let's say you did like a gouache, let's not do gouache. Let's say you applied like a foundation on your face, right? The AI will be able to look at your face and say, oh, you successfully applied the foundation on your face. You successfully had like a 97% coverage area, or a 90% coverage area, a 60% coverage area, and then it will highlight on the phone in real time. It will highlight the parts of your face where that needs to be covered for you to achieve like 100% coverage, right? Yeah, it's just a little bit like when you buy like a new iPhone and then the phone is telling you to like and you're trying to do Face ID, and then the phone is like, turn your face to this side, turn your face to the left. That is just coverage essentially. The phone is trying to do coverage for you. Like, okay, we have 90% coverage, 80% coverage. So it's the same technique, right? But in this case, we are doing makeup, right? Right. So how do we achieve that, right? How do we achieve that? I don't want to delve into it because this is not the recording for that, but there's something called segmentation, image segmentation, right? It's just segmentation, just segment your face. Masking and just look at the parts that has a different color, bam, and then we take it. In segmentation. So so essentially that's one thing we can. So that's one feature there. So you know that, okay, Ibad as Ibad, right? In worst case scenario, if you use the Mirror Pro Max app it makes more sense to use the Mirror Pro Max to apply foundation on your face over using a traditional mirror, because at least with the Mirror Pro Max app, you are going to be able to be sure that you are going to be able to determine the amount of coverage. You are going to be able to determine the amount of coverage that you have, or you'll be able to at least properly apply the foundation on your face. Okay, cool. So that's one advantage. If you are using the Mirror Pro Max, you are guaranteed proper foundation application on your face. Check mark. That's check. Let's go. Right? So that's one. Okay, cool. Right? So another thing would be, another thing I noticed is there's a lot of indecision. Okay, maybe indecision is like a very harsh word. There's a lot of quick decision making. Essentially, there's this. You in real time. You are watching a woman do the makeup, right? There's this. You can literally see that she's changing her mind like every 5 to 10 seconds, right? She's like, okay, do I use this lipstick? Or do I use this color? This color matches with my, it matches with the dress that I'm wearing. And then she's like, okay, let me use this particular color. I was like, oh, no, the event I'm going for is, I used to see my mom doing this in real time too, and my sisters, right? She'd be like, oh, the event I'm going for is my mom's case is like, let's say, it's like a house fellowship, right? Or a church program, right? I don't want to look too, I don't want to apply too much makeup. Do you understand? I want to look a little bit conservative, if you will, right? So because of that, she might have applied the lipstick initially, right? And then she'll grab like a tissue and then clean up the lipstick. Instead of using a lipstick, she just go with a lip gloss, right? I've seen stuff like that happen with my mom and my sisters like 10 trillion times, right? So there's very rapid decision making that goes on in that process, right? So another thing this Mirror Pro Max app can help with is it can what I call the Nostradamus effect. Do you know how Nostradamus like predicted like the future, allegedly, right? Yeah, we can use AI to AI and phones already all these mirror, all these like photo apps already do this, by the way. We can, so it's not something technical. We can use AI to it's this segmentation that's going on in the background. We can use AI to predict the makeup that you're about to apply, right? So let's say, so in this instance here, we're going to combine context with prediction, right? So let's say you want to apply a lipstick. You have like a red shade of lipstick. You have like a very red shade of lipstick, like Taylor Swift type of red. And you have like a kind of like not so bright red shade of lipstick, right? So you're trying to go between two shades of red, right? Right? When you are holding meanwhile you are holding the phone, the iPad mini with one hand, right? And then you're holding your lipstick with the other hand. The second the app sees that you're holding a lipstick, right? It automatically changes, it highlights your lip first of all, and then it changes the color of your lip to the color of the lipstick that you're holding, right? Now, if you want to change the color of the lipstick, yeah, you want to see another color, right? You want to see how the let's say you're holding the darker shade of red, and you want to see how the bright red, how the Taylor Swift red is going to look on your lips, right? Instead of like dropping that lipstick in your hand and then going in, reaching inside like your makeup purse or reaching inside your bag and grabbing like focus and grabbing like the other shade of red, right? In this instance, right, you can just like you can tap your lip, right? I think we just do that. You can tap your lip, right? By tapping your lip, right? Just a tap on your lip with that makeup item. So if you tap your lip with the lipstick, right, it will change the color. It will change the color. If you change the color, it will change the color. If you double tap your lip, right, it will change the shade. Sorry, it will change the shade. So you can be cycling through all the shades of red by just tapping your lip with the lipstick, right? Yeah. So you can visualize what that lip, different shades of red, for instance, will look like on your lip, right? And this does not just work for lipstick too. Even when you're trying to apply foundation, you have like a palette in front of you. You don't know which particular color on the palette you want to apply on your face. You can just take your sponge, right? And you can tap your face. If you tap your face once, it will change, it will be cycling through. It will infer the color of your skin, by the way, first of all. And then it will just slightly change the tint of it. So you can cycle through the shades like that. Now, if you want to change the color completely, you double tap on your face with the sponge, like double tap, like a serious double tap, tata, right? And then the AI will change the color. So let's say you are using like a very dark brown, right? That's what you're applying before, right? But now you want to go nude, right? And you cycle through all the shades of brown, traditional brown, right? Light brown, right? But now you're like, I know, I want to just fucking go nude now, right? You just double tap your face with the brush, right? With the sponge, and you're nude. And then you can now cycle through like slightly different shades of nude, right? Nude itself is like a shade of brown, I think. I'm just trying to like. So those are the two gestures that are going to be inside the app, right? There's going to be tap to alter the shade, and then double tap to, that's like two of the gestures that are there. Then double tap to change the color. Do you understand? This will also work with your lipstick too, for instance. So again, you want to apply red lipstick, you tap it, it sees that it's red, it highlights your lipstick to red, the color of the lipstick automatically. And then you press it, you tap your lip once, it changes to red. You tap your lip twice, it changes to, it's cycling through the shades of red. And then if you want to change to like, let's say you are going for like a goth look, you change your mind like, fuck it, it's Halloween, let's do goth, right? You can just drop that red lipstick and grab like, and then, no, instead of dropping the red lipstick, you can just double tap your lip and then it switches to like black. And then you can now cycle through like different shades of black and then go through like maybe even dark purple, like you could go crazy with this shit, right? and you can preview the look, right? If you want to keep, you can preview that look. So you can, without necessarily applying the makeup and then removing it, applying the makeup, removing it, yada, yada, yada. Do you understand? So that's another gesture, right? And this will work for literally everything. So if you drop the high pencil, if you drop the lipstick, if you drop the lipstick and you pick up like an eye pencil and you want to line your brows, for instance, right? Again, the app can see that you're holding an eye pencil. It automatically knows that, well, where does eye pencil go? It's probably going on your eyes, right? So it will highlight your brows for you, right? You get the gist, essentially. And then if you want to like change the color, you can circle through it. Circle. Maybe we'll find another gesture for thickness, things like that. I watch like a lot of makeup videos, right? Now this one is not hard at all. With all these things I'm saying, it's not hard. It's just going to take like ChatGPT can do it itself. It's very this real-time API. If you combine this real-time API with context, right? You can do it. We will just use it to fire we use the real-time API to fire functions in the background. So when it sees you holding an eye pencil, it will fire a certain function. If you see you holding a lipstick, it knows what a lipstick is. It will fire, it will number one, gets the color of it, and then fire a function. So it's just function firing in the background, essentially. So if we take all these things, right, we can easily create a there are other features I want to like put into it, but it's already 41 minutes, it's getting too long. So I'll go. It's just God I dropped this idea. God bless this girl, by the way. Two things she has done for me today. Number one, I saw this really nice recipe, and now she's holding this iPad like mirror on her hand. If she wasn't holding this mirror, there's a high chance that I wouldn't like even if God was telling me, maybe I would not have seen it. So like God bless her, whatever her name is. Okay, cool. So I'll come back. Maybe I'll come back tomorrow or next tomorrow, and I'll think about this thing in the background. I'll ask God to help me. Yeah. And I'll come up with like a more refined and some other features in the back of my mind that I've not really thought through right now. I'll come back and then I'll come back essentially and then we'll discuss this thing. But essentially the aim is to create, is to get women to start using their phones as a makeup tool instead of a mirror, creating the Kindle. I think the iPad mini is the Kindle of, it can be the Kindle of makeup, essentially. That's my motivation for this thing. So yeah, that's it. Thank you, Jesus. Bye-bye.